Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our, I think, is our fourth presentation, right, for the symposium on comic arts. So I'm hoping you guys are all enjoying yourselves. I'm sorry. And today right now, we are going to have a presentation from Anthony Marques, who is the new owner of the Joe Kubert School. So, and then we would plan to have a Q&A afterwards. So here we go. I will start the stream and everybody can hear me and see me, yes? Okay, here we go. Share. And in this particular instance, it's not a straight presentation, it's more of an interview between me and Anthony. Okay, so here we go. Video file and shifts there. Enjoy.
Tell me a little bit about your history with the Kubert School.
Sure. So I came to the Kubert School in 2008, and I graduated in 2011. So I was here for 3 years, and it was incredible. I had a wonderful time. I made lifelong friends that I've been dealing with now, and even with the instructors. I mean, one of my closest friends is one of the instructors still, Fernando Ruiz.
Right.
Andy Kubert is an incredible friend of mine. People from my class, Sean Mandrake, Carly Ide, Gavin Smith. I mean, we all stay in touch still. It's incredible. And one of the really fun things that Joe always talked about when we were students was you can't look at the people in your class as being just competition. That's not the case. These are people that you're going to work with for the rest of your life when you're in this sort of a field. And so in a bigger look at it, I believe that a lot of this comes down to building connections and relationships with people, and being successful in this industry also comes down to building those relationships with people. And, when you just bring it down under a microscope and put it into a classroom, that's what you're doing. You're building relationships with your fellow classmates that you're going to rely on for the rest of your creative career. And that's something that has been incredible to have learned while I was a student at the school. But otherwise, the instructors that I had when I was a student, they were incredible. I was fortunate to learn from Joe. I was able to work at Telegraphics, which was their production, basically company downstairs in the building. And we would do the backgrounds for Joe. And so that was like almost having an extra class where we'd come back up and we'd speak with Joe and work with him. And he would explain why what we did was wrong. And how what he was going to do is, show us how to do it the right way. But it was really incredible. So I have nothing but fond memories of my time as a student and all the friendships that I made. It was really incredible.
Just very briefly, do you know what the history of Joe starting the school was?
Yeah, sure. So I could talk about that. So actually, prior to Joe starting the school, Joe actually did some sort of mail order books that you could even order to learn a little bit of cartooning and how to do it. But so many people wanted to learn how to do this. They wanted to get into this. And he recognized that need, him and his wife, Muriel. And so what he did was he started the Joe Kubert School. And where our students now live in housing, that is actually the original location of the school. And then as people started coming more and more, he purchased the old high school in Dover and actually moved the school location to here. And this is where we still are, over 45 years later.
Got it. Are the students mainly, is this like a regular college type situation when students come out of high school and go into the Kubert School, or are you getting students from all ages?
So we have, I would say it skews to about the sort of like 20s, but we do have a lot of students that come straight from high school. We're always taking in different tours and giving people a look at the school and explaining what we do here. But there's no real age. This is something that's really incredible that anybody that wants to do this can do it, but you have to be willing to put in the time and the effort and the work. And so here at the Kubert School, you're more than welcome to apply. You have to go through a full process where your portfolio will be reviewed, and then it's go for a board of members, and we all look at it and we decide whether or not this is the right place for you. So whether you're 18 coming out of high school or you're 45 or 60, it doesn't make a difference. But what we're really looking for is that you have a strong desire push forward, that you want to achieve success, that you want to do this for real, because it's one thing to do it just for fun, just to kind of do this in a general sense, but another to truly commit yourself to every single day, not only drawing while you're here at the school, but then going home and at night continuing to draw, continuing to get better every single day.
So there's a specific set of curriculum that people take, and then it's 2 years or 4 years, and then
The Kubert Schools program is 3 years, and it's a set curriculum. There's 10 classes a week, and there's lab every single day as well.
got it. Okay. Wow. It sounds very rigorous. And that's great that people actually do need to send in a portfolio in order to be considered, right?
Oh yeah, no, you have to, you can't just show up, you have to submit a portfolio, but the rigorousness of it all is something that we all take pride in. Majority of the instructors are graduates from the school. And when you talk with folks that did go through the school that are working in comics, or they're working in animation or film, our alumni list stretches all over the place. It's really incredible. We all bond over that sort of workload, that work ethic that was instilled upon us by attending the Kubert School. And that's something that we're very, very proud of.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll head out there.
Like I said, the door is always open. Come on by.
Now, so you've been at the Kubert School since 2008, you said?
Yeah.
2008. How has the industry in your eyes changed since then, or even before then?
The industry is always changing. I don't think any industry can ever just sit pat and not do anything. You have to always pay attention to what's going on in the world, the latest trends, and not follow trends, because if you're following a trend, by the time you're following it, it's already passed you by. I think that's a bad way of doing it, but you have to be aware of what's coming and do it. You have to be at the forefront of it always. So, when I was in comics, or when I was just a student reading the comics, I think that, I thought that stories were great. I don't know. I really enjoyed them. Now I think that the trend is to bring in a lot of new talent. There's always that sort of shift after a certain number of years where you start seeing an influx of new talent brought into anything, whether it's comics or film, et cetera. And I think that's what we're in right now. Whereas when I was reading them and I was a student, I felt that it was kind of set. There was a very set sort of group of talent. There was new talent being brought in, but you still had your main heavy hitters there. Whereas now I think it's much more diverse. You have a lot of different voices that are being brought to the table, which I think is incredible and extremely important when you're doing anything creative. So I think the comics are heading in a really exciting direction. There's also many more opportunities to be able to put your work out than ever before. And, that's something that people always talk about every single time they get together and we discuss comics. I can remember 10 years ago saying, wow, there's so many more opportunities. I remember doing Kickstarter 10 years ago, and it was like kind of different and new, and now everybody's doing it. But there's so many opportunities, and there will continue to be so many more opportunities for people to take advantage of, to get the work out there and in front of a new audience. And I think that that's great. So I'm very excited to see where comics are headed.
I'd like to expand more on that. When you mentioned diversity, has the demographics of the school changed over the years?
One of the beautiful things about the Kubert School is that we've always been diverse. People from all over the world come to the Kubert School. And that's really, really special, because like what I was saying is, the more voices, the more different approaches that you can get to a story, the better it's going to be, and with the school and where we're headed, I just love the fact that we're a diverse place, because everybody's welcome here, and we're going to create something that is ideal for everyone. So, when you read a comic book, it has to represent the world that we live in, and the world that we live in is diverse. It can't just be one way. That's impossible. That's not real. So let it reflect that. Let's show what it is. And the Kubert School is a prime example of that.
Awesome. I asked because when I was doing comics in the 90s, it was a very male-oriented thing, right? And so, and it didn't even occur to me that at some point there would be so many women wanting to do comic books and reading comics. Are you seeing that among the
Yeah, and
students?
we have there's a lot of women, even our staff wise, there's women, there's female students, there's male students, there's every student that you could think of, and we're so proud of it, but I think we're seeing even more of an increase as we go forward. But it all comes down to what we're teaching, because whoever comes to the school, we want to make sure that the education that they're receiving is the best education that they can in cartoon and graphic arts, and specifically narrative art, because that's what we do the best here. And it's what I truly believe that we do the best. And we will continue to do that. So everyone is welcome at the Kubert School. And we just want to make sure that you get the best education possible.
Are you seeing a shift in the kind of genres that the students want to work on with their comics?
That's a great question. And I think that kind of comes in different waves. And that's a really interesting topic because there's different ways to kind of look at it. I also think it's how we look at the age range of different individuals. For example, growing up, I had Death of Superman, there was Nightfall, there was all those sort of things, the Clone Wars. And that was a very interesting time, and we were really into superhero type stuff. But then all of a sudden there was this shift into creator-owned work. All of a sudden, boom, then Spawn shows up, and we had all these incredible characters from Image. And then people wanted to start really shifting into that creator-owned work. And then on TV, you started getting those shows like Walking Dead and everything else that was a little bit based on creator-owned material. And now you're seeing, I believe, a heavy shift into that creator-owned material with younger artists and writers. And they want to do it. They also want to own it, and I think that that's really great too. They should own a piece of it, or all of it if they're creating it themselves. And I see now with a lot of our students, and we allow them to do this as well, that they do want to create their own projects. Sure, everybody has some sort of a reason that they got in. Maybe it was that Superman story or Spider-Man. But I am seeing a heavy push that people want to tell their own stories, and we encourage them to do that.
What kind of stories are you seeing?
Sure, they could be anything from sci-fi, but it's usually more of a personal tone to it. Whether it's sci-fi, Western, superhero, the stories are more personal oriented. It's relationships. I see a lot more. I know you could be like, oh, well, Superman had Lois Lane as a girlfriend. I'm not talking about that. It's much more real. There's a touch of reality to it. It's more grounded than ever before, but with a fantastical element put to it. And I think that kind of goes across all the different genres.
Got it. Now, with this genre shift, when you're saying that people are wanting to do more personal stories, right? Mm-hmm. Are you also seeing a difference in the kind of drawing styles? Because for a long time, it was Marvel and DC style, right? And now we're seeing original graphic novels and things like that. And we're seeing much more variety in the kind of drawing and art styles that publishers are putting out. Are you seeing that trend also among your students, or are you guys are also shifting the way you teach?
So as far as styles go, styles are always going to be changing because of what we interact with, our media intake every single day, what we read, what we watch. So the styles are one thing, and I always encourage, be who you are, draw how you want to draw. The main thing that it comes down to is, no matter the style, is you have to be able to tell a story with your artwork. And if you can't tell a story, it doesn't matter what style you're drawing it in, you failed at your job. As a cartoonist or a comic book artist, you're a narrative artist. Your job is to tell a story with pictures. So it doesn't matter what style you draw in, but we highly encourage you to be you, to draw on that style that you want to do, but to do it to the best of your ability and to ensure that the story that you're telling is clear and to the point.
Well, sorry about that.
I need to apologize.
Okay, go ahead.
That was it. It just needs to be to the point.
Got it. Okay. Um, how has COVID affected the way you guys teach or the way the school runs?
So, when I first took over the Kubert school, it was a little about 6 months later, COVID wound up shutting everything down. So yes, that was an extremely scary time for me, but we handled it very well. And that's because we have an incredible staff, wonderful faculty, an incredible student body. And everybody was able to make that shift to online very easily. But out of that, we realized we could open our doors a little bit wider, give people an opportunity to partake in our classes in a way that they never have before. And that's how we created the Kubert School Online Studies department and a section of our school. And in doing so, we've also been able to bring on different instructors like Dan DiDio, Joe Prado, Maria Sinapo, Erica Schultz, and have them all teach. And we have students from all around the world now that are online taking these classes. And these classes are incredible. And this is also meant for a person that maybe they have that full-time job and they can't commit to coming to the school for 3 years, but they can commit to taking a class once a week in the evening for 6 weeks and learn from some of the best professionals in the industry. Phil Jimenez is teaching a course right now. That's absolutely incredible. So these are wonderful courses. They're extremely affordable and give people the opportunity to learn what they want to learn and to help build their portfolios under the guidance of working professionals. So that was a huge advancement for us. We also created free classes because we knew that it was going to be hard on parents out there with kids or people in general, and maybe they just needed a little bit of a break. Take a minute to get away from all the madness that was surrounding us. So what we did is we created some different free courses and we put them up online. They're still available on our YouTube page, so please feel free to go and take a peek. We had Lee Weeks, Marco Santucci, Maria Sinapo, Fernando Ruiz, and they all taught specific classes. We even put up the Joe Kubert World of Cartooning instructional videos. So if you want to go on there and learn from Joe, you can go and take a bunch of courses straight from Joe for free. So we wanted to engage the public more. We felt that it was our opportunity to help out a little bit and give people a chance to just escape. So out of that, we were able to create those different initiatives and thankfully come back to being in person, but also get fully approved by the Department of Education and Accreditation to offer our full-time program online as well. So now if you live far away and you don't want to make the trek out to New Jersey, but you want to take our full-time program, you can now also do that online.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And like I said, that all comes down to the staff, our faculty, and our students.
Would all this have happened had COVID not occurred?
It's something that we always wanted to do. But like I said, I had only been in the position for 6 months. So this is something that kind of accelerated the effort of which we would have put forth to it.
Yeah. It's the pandemic has created a lot of changes in the way we do things.
Oh yeah. Our day-to-day operations, the way that those kind of shifted, the temperature checks, the mask wearing, everything, the social distancing, the number of students that can be in a classroom. But none of that is as important as the safety of the students and the staff and the faculty. Right. That always came first, so that is the least that we could do to ensure everything. So that's what we did, and we're really proud of it. And thankfully, everyone has been very safe.
Okay, cool. So for decades, comic books have been, for decades we had superhero comics. During the 70s and 80s, they were pretty much the same. And then the 90s happened and comic book stories became much more mature, and then the aughts happened. And the last 10, 15 years, we've seen a growth in the original graphic novel market, where creators from all backgrounds are now creating stories that are maybe memoirs, coming of age, slice of life, things like that. So now we have an even larger diversity of creators and genres and formats. As an educator, as somebody who's in touch with the up and coming creators. Um, how do you foresee, or what do you think the future of comics will be like?
I think that we will have every opportunity to tell any story that we want. You know, when you look at the different web platforms that are out there, or you look at even just being able to publish your own material, it's never been as easy as it is right now. And there's so many opportunities to make money from these platforms that are out there. If you have a story to tell, you can do it. You can put it out there. It's like what we were talking about before. It's never been easier than it is right now. And I believe it will truly only get easier as we move forward. So if you have something that you want to tell, that you want to create, the best thing that I could tell you to do is to do it. Pick up that pencil. Stop worrying about whatever tools that you want to use for it. Just get that piece of paper, a pencil, and start doing it. You know, I was talking with one of the students the other day, and they were stressing about not having a certain program or whatnot. And I said, you don't need it. Just draw it. Just put it down on a piece of paper and do it. You don't have to worry. You can write a letter. You can write your notes. You can write a whole script. You know, you don't need to worry. If that thought pops up in your brain, you don't have to break out a cell phone to put it down. You can if that's what works for you. But keep a notepad close by. Put it down. The beautiful thing about creating comics is that anybody can do it. And it can all start with your imagination, a pencil, and a piece of paper. That's something that's so incredible. And it's something that we've all been doing since time started. You know, when the earliest form of communication was drawn on a cave wall. We've been doing comics forever. All right. This is natural for us. And like I said, if you want to do it, you can do it. Just make it happen. You can do it.
Well, I think my parting question was going to be advice on what to do, but since you've kind of answered that already, what I'm going to ask you is, what advice would you tell aspiring creators on not to do? So let's
What
flip it
not to
around.
do? Don't shut yourself off from learning and how to continue to get better. Always listen, pay attention, and just continue to get better. You have to be a lifelong learner. And, you know, Joe was a prime example of that. I think, you know, you can look at certain artists and sometimes their artwork will start to kind of become repetitive. They fall into the trap of doing the same tricks over and over again. But when you look at someone like Joe, he never fell into that trap. He continued to get better all the way until the end. He was always willing to try something different. And that's what made him such an incredible artist. And I took that and I always recognized it. And I hope that I can just get the tip of his pinky's worth of that in my work, and to always continue to get better. And that's what I would give the advice. Also, of course, be kind. Don't be a jerk.
Yes.
You know, nobody wants to work with someone that's not nice. Be on time. Make sure you hit your deadlines. You know, that's always a big thing because everyone's relying on you. You know, it's not just you getting your pencils or your inks done or your color or your letters. There's tons of folks, and those are really my big two there. And yeah, be a lifelong learner.
Awesome.
Well, there you go. That was Anthony Marques, and here he is with us today, live.
Hey, Ramon, how are you? Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks so much for making it. I know you have a busy day with the kids and everything like that, but I'm glad you can join us for a few minutes to answer people's questions because I'm sure there's a whole bunch of them.
Well,
So everybody, this is Anthony. And do you have any thoughts you want to add to that video after having placed it?
not especially. You know, I thought that the interview was very nicely done. Ramon, you always ask really thoughtful questions, which I'm a big fan of. Meaning that you really think about what you're about to ask, and you care about what you're asking as well. So the questions that you put forth had real merit to them. They mattered. But the one thing that I would probably want to touch on just a little bit more is just to remind everyone, like what we had mentioned in the interview, is this is a wonderful opportunity, wonderful time for you to be able to get out there and to create your own properties, create your own stories, and give them to an audience that is hungry for it. They want this sort of this entertainment. They want this escapism. So take advantage of that. I saw a question pop up too, Ramon. So I'll let you go in there.
Sure. PSO asks, how do you feel about manga? I mean, it sort of relates to just doing a story that speaks to you. So I think this is a related question. It seems to be gaining in popularity. Should I release my indie comic in manga format?
So in our interview, we kind of talked a little bit about no matter what form you're drawing it in, whether you want to do it as a manga, whether you want to do it Western or mix, whatever, whatever style that you enjoy drawing in, it doesn't make a difference. All that matters is that the storytelling is strong and that it's to the point. So no matter what style you draw in, I love seeing different styles. Go for it. Try different things. Get it out there. But if you feel, and it comes down to you, if you feel that doing your story as a manga is the best way to get it out there, go for it. If that's how you like to draw it like that. If you want to do it in that format that the mangas are released, go for that as well. But make sure that your story comes first and that the storytelling with your art is right at the top as well. Because if you can't tell a story with your art, no matter what style you're putting out in, it's not going to make a difference.
Here's another question about the Joe Kubert School from Dan. Does the Kubert School cover the business side of comics like negotiations and self-publishing?
Yes, it does. So we also have the business of cartoon art at the Kubert School. So in our full-time program, we teach that. That covers contracts, negotiating, self-publishing, what is involved in all of those different aspects as well, because those are very broad topics. So you can cover a lot of different things with each one of those. We talk about rates, how to negotiate for your rates, and get all that information out there. So definitely check that out. And for those of you that might want to just kind of look into the more generalized version of the business courses, you might be interested in our Kubert School online studies programs. For that, we've had Dan DiDio come, and he's taught different aspects of the business courses as well. So you could take a peek at that online at our website, kubertschool.edu.
Got it. Okay, and here's another question from Comic Synapse. What do you think about the growing accessibility of making and reading comics via services like webtoons? Is it changing people's interaction with your classes?
So I'm all for as many different platforms that there can be. I'll preach this over and over again. Whatever helps to get your story out there and in front of people, I am 100% for. I love it. I think it's great. And we actually teach the different formats for some of the different websites that you can go to. So like webtoons in particular, we teach our students how to actually make sure that the story that you're telling is clear and concise, utilizing narrative art, which is this aspect of telling a story with pictures. We talked about that in our interview as well. So for Cosmic Synapse, yes, I love it. I think webtoons or any of those other services that are out there that can help get you a larger audience, I say go for it.
Here's one that I sort of missed, but let's post it now from Kate. Do students taking one class a week have to go through the same portfolio review process?
No. So what I think Kate is asking about, and Kate, I apologize if I'm wrong, is more for the online studies courses. The students that take our full-time program have to take 10 classes a week. Okay, it's a set curriculum. So you have 2 classes a day and then a lab in the afternoon. So each day you have 2 different classes and then that lab. And you get to learn under some of the best working professionals in the industry today. So if you wanted to go through the online studies aspect of it, that's more generalized and meant for the public to take part in. And for that, you do not have to submit a portfolio. But what I would say is for the full-time students, you do have to submit a portfolio, but don't be afraid of that. And I'd like to just give you guys some tips real quick, if you don't mind me just throwing this out there, Ramon, about maybe what you should have in your portfolio, because that seems to be a very common question that I get asked. What should I put in my portfolio? What will make me stand out in the crowd of sea of portfolios that are presented to editors or different schools? So what I would say is the sweet spot is anywhere from 6 to 10 pages. Okay. And in that portfolio, I love to see a nice scene with maybe like a single character. He could be a superhero. He could just be a regular guy doing something. I'd like to see 2 to 3 pages of a character with another one interacting, engaging, a fight scene. Let me see how you can incorporate backgrounds. That's always very key. And then group scenes. Let me see how you interact with a group of people. That could be a huge scale fight. It could just be people at a park walking, going to the zoo. But also, the key aspect to all of that is you want to make sure that I can see that you have the ability to draw everything. So if you notice when I was talking about that, there is animals, there's backgrounds that involves perspective, your ability to draw buildings, cars, all those sorts of things. I want to see a variety in your portfolio. So this way I know that you can do all of the above. I don't want to see splashes. Everybody loves drawing splash pages. It's a lot of fun, but I want to know that you can tell a story. So stay away from the splashes and stay away from the cover samples.
A follow-up question to what Kate asked earlier. So you have your full-time students and you have your once-a-week students. Or is there anything in between?
We also have Saturday morning classes for our younger artists that are out there. And we actually offer that online as well and in person. And then this summer, we started this last summer, was the first ever Kubert School Intensive program. Now, the Kubert School Intensive program is a month-long program that involves a different class taught each day of the week by a different instructor. And that covers either writing, covers basic drawing, narrative art, inking, and then digital production, which is a combination of lettering and coloring. And we provide the Photoshop and the different programs that are needed, Illustrator. So this way you can go through and do all of that. So that's a wonderful program. It was very successful last year. We're excited to be bringing it back this year. And on top of that, we're also going to be offering it in Florida. So for anybody that's out there that lives in Florida or in that area, if you don't want to make the trek up to New Jersey this year, you can actually take part in our Kubert School Intensive program right in Orlando.
That's where I am right now. Here's another question from Cosmic Synapse. Wait, no, we already did that. Sorry, from CJ. Sorry. As someone who is instructing a new generation of artists, what is your take on technology versus analog? I manage a group of artists and there's a variety of implementations and opinions.
CJ, that's a great question. And, you know, this is something that comes up in our classes a lot because we have students that love to draw with a pencil. They still like to ink with a brush or their nibs. And then we also have students that wanted to work digitally. And the answer is that there is no wrong answer. But what you need to remember is whether you're working digitally or traditionally, it's all just a tool. It's all just a tool. You still need to learn how to draw, how to tell a story before you can use any of those tools. If I didn't know how to draw, and even if I picked up a pencil, I could still draw extremely poorly. You know, I could do a horrible job. But that's why you go to school. That's why you study. That's why you practice. So that's where you're continuously getting better. So whether you're working traditionally or digitally, it doesn't make a difference. There are different things that you can use when you're working digitally, but you got to remember, don't use these filters or different brushes as a mask to hide your weaknesses. Always continue to improve, always continue to strengthen yourself as an artist.
Here's a question that's a little bit more conceptual or theory. Is there a difference between narrative and sequential art?
I would say no. You can't have one without the other. Narrative art or sequential art is really the same thing. It's the telling of a story with pictures. So I would say that they are the same thing. You're on mute, Ramon. Sorry.
Muted. Sorry about that. Here's another question. What should someone who graduates from the program expect when they finish the program?
Sure, that's a great question. So as far as the full-time students, what we do for our full-time students is in the third year, We bring in about 15 different companies to do portfolio reviews. So far this year, I think we've been up to about 6 or 7. We have a bunch more coming before May. One of the really great things was Dynamite actually came out and they hired 2 of our students right on the spot, literally about a month ago. So that was fantastic. That was a great day. And so what we try to do is get you to be at the best that you can be in order to go out there and get a job. We want you to get a job. Trust me. I don't think, sometimes I laugh because I feel like I want the job even more for the students than the students want it. So I'm always pushing them. Hey, did you apply to this? Did you go after this? Did you submit for this one? I want you guys to get out there and get working. It's so, so important to me. So what you should expect is to come out of the school being a much better artist than you were when you first showed up, and to have contacts, the ability to go out and get work. Maybe you might not be a penciler from day one, but you'll be able to get out into the field and get work.
Great, great. Now, not sure if you mentioned this in the earlier video, but is the full-time program available online?
Yes. So we were approved by the Department of Ed. It was brand new. This is actually our first year doing it full-time. You can actually take our full-time program online as well. It's incredible. So if you live far away and maybe you're in a different country, you don't want to come to the United States, or you don't want to come to New Jersey, and you're in the US, you can take the full-time program online as well. So just check it out at kubertschool.edu. You'll be able to see all the different classes that are listed. You'll be able to learn all about our faculty and staff. Everything is right on the website. So definitely take a look. And if you would want to apply, you can apply at the website as well.
Great, wonderful. And I think unless anybody else has any questions, my last question is this: do you have any events coming up where people can come by and check the school out?
Yeah, and I'm hoping that you're going to be there.
I'm going, and if anybody needs a ride, I'm driving from New York City. So,
so we have our open house coming up. I believe it's April 9th. Just double check it's that Saturday. So I apologize if I messed up the date, but I'm pretty sure it's April 9th. And it's going to be a great day. We're going to have a bunch of different faculty members on hand doing demonstrations. We're going to have our staff there. They'll be available to talk about financial aid, any of your questions that you might have. You'll be able to apply for free in person for our upcoming school year. And like I always tell everybody, just because you apply doesn't mean that you have to come to the school, but it'll get you into that interview process and through the portfolio process as well. And then we take the next step. But definitely come on out. It's going to be a really good time. You'll be doing tours. You'll be able to meet different students. It's a great day at the school.
Here's a question, but that's actually, I was going to ask a similar question. My question is that, do you ever have events where, because I was just talking to an art director the other day, and she's looking for talent. So do you guys have portfolio reviews? And this question over here, it says, how do I properly screen portfolios when selecting artists for my books? So it's a 2-part question. Well, are you going to have portfolio reviews, and how do you screen books?
What was the first part of the question, Ramon? I'm sorry.
Are you going to be having portfolio reviews again?
Yes, we do portfolio reviews throughout the year. So we do hold a special portfolio day during the summer for people that want to come by and get critiques and just kind of hear where they're at on their portfolios. But we usually do portfolio reviews for people that have applied to the school. And then we do that at the interview process and walk through it. There's a whole process in order to actually attend the school for the full-time program. As far as how you can properly screen portfolios when trying to select your artist for your own personal books, it's tough. There's a bunch of different things that go into it. When you want to find different artists for yourself, if you're a writer, go to a convention. You can go online. You can go on Instagram. You can find so many different artists that are out there, but try to find one that, matches the tone and the style of what you have in mind for your story. And don't be afraid to ask questions. See how long it takes for them to complete a page. Are they comfortable doing 20 pages? One of the big things I talk about is from being a student to becoming a professional. A lot of young artists are very used to doing maybe 6 pages. Maybe that's the most consecutive pages that they've ever done. Maybe they've done 10 pages in a row. All of a sudden now having to draw 20 pages, it's a little it's different the way you have to think about how you're setting up your pages so this way the layouts aren't repetitive throughout. Now all of a sudden maybe you're doing 3 consecutive issues. Now you have 60 pages, and this is a 20-page style format I'm talking about. Now you have to make sure that your pages aren't repetitive for 60 pages. So it really comes down to how well you've been taught and what you're learning and how you can apply it. So look to see what you like. Don't be afraid to ask for a sample either. That's never a bad thing to do. I hope that answers your question a little bit.
I think it does. I think we have one last question. This might be the last question, but here we go. From Greg, what's the best way to get editors to become familiar with your work?
Sure, that's a really good question. So, Greg, one of the things I tell my students is that one of the key aspects of this business that people, I don't think, really pay enough attention to is that it's about communication, building relationships, showing the editors or other people that might want to hire you that you can continuously do this sort of work, that you're always drawing, that you're not just sending the same pages from 5 years ago. So when you go to the shows or when you come into contact with an editor, don't be afraid to say, hi, my name is, insert your name. Let them know what you're working on. Say that you would love to send them some samples of your work. Now, remember, editors are extremely, extremely busy. It is a very difficult job. I promise you that it's a very difficult job. And, if they don't reply right away, don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. Just know that they probably saw it, but they might not have work for you at the moment. They have a bunch of other artists that they have to go through, that they have to use. And trust me, they want to hire you. They want to get that new artist. That's a wonderful feeling to get somebody that first gig. Trust me, I had the privilege of being able to hire some different artists and get them into the field and have them working. And that was a wonderful feeling. And then to see them succeed on top of it is just the best. And I can tell you as an artist as well, getting that first big break, there's nothing better than that. What a wonderful feeling to go into your local comic shop and show your friends, hey, that's my artwork up on the wall over there. It's pretty cool. So just know that you have to continuously send in some samples, get your artwork out there, show that you can constantly create. And I think that that's the best way to become familiar with your editors.
Well, thank you so much, Anthony. I'm glad you were able to come. Take some time. I know you're busy, but again, Anthony's having that open house on April 9th, right? And I plan to be there. And I know that we mentioned this before. Anthony can't hear us clapping, so if you could please just post a thank you on the chat so Anthony knows how much we appreciate him coming out today.
This was great. I always love doing this. I always have a great time. Like I said in the video, Ramona, I don't know if you kept it in there, but I always love getting a chance to chat with you a little bit and talk comics. And hey, this is a great topic to talk about. And for everyone that's in the comment section, thank you so much. Those were really wonderful questions, and I really thought that was really a lot of fun. So I hope that you're able to come out to the Kubert School on April 9th. Doors open, I believe, at 10 o'clock. If I'm wrong, just show up at 10 o'clock anyway. Don't worry. We'll have some fun and we can talk. And we'll have a great chance to take a look at your portfolios in person that day as well.
Awesome. Coming up next is we have Oriana Leckert, who is the comics or the publishing outreach for Kickstarter. And she will be talking about the current state and the future of comics crowdfunding. And I'm posting that link on the chat right now. So again, Anthony, thank you so much. And you're doing great work. And one of these days we'll talk about your own work as well, not just the school.
Hey, yeah, we got some really fun stuff coming up too. I can't wait. Trust me, September, something big. September, you're going to love it.
Got it. Okay, thanks everybody. So I will see you guys in about 15 minutes in the other link with Oriana. Okay, guys, take care.
Thanks, everybody.